Welcome to Sports Bitches. My name is Rachel Bonetta, joined by my best bud, Sarah Tiana, and our new best bud, Lucy Rhodin, filling in for Megan Gailey. Megan has a baby on her boob probably right now. She is in the thick of motherhood. She is absolutely crushing it. She says that she misses everybody. And she'll be back next week. Is she back next week, Sarah?
I think so. Yeah, that's what she seems. That's what her texts imply.
Yeah. So just know that she probably has a long list of grievances, and we're just going to kind of give her the floor and let her take over. But today, Lucy Rhodin, you do college football for the Levitard Show. You are so funny. You are one of our favorites.
Funny.
When we were talking about fill-ins, you were one of the first people that we said.
Top.
I have a little story, if I can. Also, you can speak, by the way. I don't think you said hi.
I was waiting for the praise to stop. I was hoping you'd be like, and she's so pretty too. I was like,
and
waiting for you to
she's
say
cute,
that.
and her glasses, and she's so funny and nice. No, but can I tell you a really quick story? Lucy babysat one of our dogs, Crumbs, when Zach and I were first dating.
Oh my God.
And she put, I guess you went away or something like that. You put him in your room, which is like a normal thing that you should be able to do with a dog. And Crumbs chewed up her carpet underneath like her door frame of an apartment she was renting.
Hey.
So I just want to say that we are so sorry for that.
I got my entirety of my deposit back for that apartment.
Oh, what?
Because
really?
I went full Bob the Builder, and I went to Home Depot, and I got carpet samples. And then I went to my apartment, and I went in a closet, and I measured the hole that Crumbs cut out, and I cut that out from the closet, then glued it into the hole that Crumbs cut out, and then just used the random carpet in the closet where no one was going to see it. It was the most amazing thing I've ever done in my life. And I love that little demon
DIY. That's honestly some Rachel Bonetta shit. That's something that I would do.
Insane.
Rachel is. That's really good.
I'm very
Lucy.
very DIY.
That is your Midwest roots coming to roost. Is that? Do you consider that Midwest?
Roots to roost.
I'm actually from North Carolina. People never know that because it doesn't make any sense. I know.
No.
You saw that one coming. I'm like, all my family's from Iowa. My dad is from Iowa. I was born in Iowa, but I grew up in North Carolina, and I don't say that with pride. And someone's at my door.
How did you get started in? Before we get into sports stuff, how did you get started in your career, Lucy? Like, were you a huge sports fan when you were a kid?
I have always loved college football. It's like the worst thing about me probably. Where my parents got divorced and my dad got the fandom in the divorce. He was like, you guys are Iowa fans. This is your life now and you have to love it or else. And my mom's an Arkansas fan, so thank God. But so every Saturday was like religion. We weren't allowed to have plans. My dad would be like, I'm sorry if you're going to your friend's house. I'm not driving you. I'm not picking you up. You figure it out. The Hawks are on. And so it just became something that was I kind of got Stockholm syndrome into it where I was like, I don't want to be here. This is terrible. And then I was like, well, this isn't actually too bad. This is actually a little bit fun. I'm enjoying myself. And college football is just so stupid. And I was like, this is what I want to talk about and what I want to be doing. And so I didn't want to go in state because I don't like UNC and I didn't want to go there. And I was way too stupid to get into Wake Forest and too poor. So it just wasn't going to work out. So I went to Iowa and I loved it. It was the perfect Big Ten experience. And I just started doing sports there. And then one day, it was really weird. One day I just woke up and I was like, I think I'm funny. And that's exactly how it happened. I wasn't funny before. And then I don't know, maybe something hit me in my sleep and I was like, I'm actually the funniest bitch alive.
Confidence,
and then
baby.
I started just telling jokes and stuff, and I've loved college football ever since. It's so stupid.
Have you ever done stand-up before?
I've never done stand-up. I feel like I probably should. But I've never done it because only men are like, oh my God, you should do stand-up. And I'm like, I don't trust your opinions. I don't
we're two women, and we're saying you should do it.
And that's why I'm doing it now, because you two have inspired me.
Hell yeah. I think you'd be great. That's so fun.
Well, then how did you start into making money with sports? How did you start with the job part?
I graduated in 2020, May 2020. It was just the worst. I thought I had a long spring break.
You graduated from?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's wild.
So yeah, I was like, oh my God, 2 week spring break. This rocks. And then I didn't see half my friends again. I was like, oh, okay, damn, that's tough. And so I could not get a job. No one could get a job. So I moved back home. I was in my dad's basement, which is all wood paneling. So it was just like extra sad that I was like, oh, I can't live like this.
Sure.
And I just started
Hardcore.
making TikToks, and that was like literally it. I just started making TikToks and I posted them. And then Wave Sports Entertainment out in LA, where I met Zach, they were like, hey, we like your TikToks. Would you want to make them for us? And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And then moved to LA and I made TikToks for them. And then I kind of was like, I don't want to be the TikTok girl forever. And so I got the job with the Levitard show that lets me talk on a bit of a bigger platform where like I can not, have to dance or something. I don't do TikTok dances though.
Yeah.
I don't know how to renegade.
I gotta
about
draw the
your-
line somewhere.
Like, what's your dream job? Like, if you could just have any job where you got to do only this, what would it be?
Well, first, I'd love to do the Trader Joe's chalk signs. I think I'd be really good at that. I would love to do that. It turns out that's like a hard gig to get, which is like
I
very
bet.
upsetting.
Are you really artistic? Like, would you be able to do it?
Oh,
Imagine it's just like squiggly lines, and we're like, oh, Lucy was here.
I'm crafty as hell. Do you guys want to see what I made recently? I have it.
I do.
Yes, of
I
course.
do.
I made
love
this
crafts.
pool.
Oh, you're a little freak.
pool.
Huh? What the fuck is that?
It's a pool, and I put my little jewelry in, and it looks like they're
Oh,
swimming.
cute. Is that made out of clay?
Oh,
Yes.
Look at you go.
wow.
So
That is
yeah, I would love to
awesome.
do this full time, but in the college football space, I just love talking about it. That's all I want to do.
Can
I just
you?
wanna
Can I
talk
pitch
about
you?
it.
Can I pitch you on a new TikTok series? You make crafts
Yeah.
while you talk about like fun college football stories. I would
College
watch
football.
the
That's-
fuck out of that.
Let me see if I can get this, because I'm going to take my headphones out for a second, and you'll see that I have done a little work.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh God, this is
So,
my new favorite person.
I like to paint as well. So I've been painting like college football images onto purses. So this is Bobby Petrino after he got in a motorcycle
Are
accident.
you kidding me?
My God.
I
That
used the
is
wrong paint, so it's chipping a little bit, but I wear it a lot, and people never know how to react.
That is so
Who,
funny. You are perfectly creative.
Yeah. What
you.
about the Mississippi State coach that passed away that always loved to talk about
Ugh,
candy?
Mike Leach.
Mike Leach.
Mike
yeah.
Leach, my hero.
So, I would definitely pay for some sort of Mike Leach bag that I could just keep candy in. I am obsessed with a Kirby Smart too. So sorry.
I can make that
I'm a-
happen.
I mean, Kirby Smart, his Twitter account is like my everything. I don't know if you see Kirby Smart's Twitter, but all it is go dogs. He just writes like go dogs or like happy birthday to a player. That's the only thing he ever
That's
tweets.
it.
And that's it. Go dogs. Go dogs. Happy birthday, Mikhail. Happy, and then apparently he tweets go dog. I found out recently, like I was just laughing about it for like a year. And then I found out recently he tweets go dogs whenever they sign someone.
Oh, that's
So
cute.
now I look at it and I'm like, oh, go dog. Like I get so excited when I see it.
Okay, we are going to get into a lot of college football, but I think that the most sports bitch-esque story that is sort of circulating the news right now is Christian Wilkins. Have you guys heard about this? Lucy, as soon as we started talking about this in the pitch meeting, you really lit up. So I'm assuming that you have some thoughts.
I don't know the full tea. I had heard a rumor. He's the guy that got cut from the Raiders, right? Or he got
Defensive
put on leave.
tackle, yeah, cut from the Raiders. Basically, he got injured, and the Raiders wanted him to have one more surgery on his foot, and he did not want to have the surgery. He felt like a different means of recovery would have been better suited for him and his journey, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the Raiders released him, and because he did not want to have the surgery, they argued that they didn't have to pay him his full guaranteed. So there was like $35 million missing that they weren't going to pay him. And then he went to the players board and he was just like, this is not fair. I deserve what I signed for, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then some very interesting rumors started to circulate. So I guess a couple of weeks leading up to the release, he had kissed somebody on the forehead on the team, and that person went to HR and did not like. And then all of these other stories, so that's like one thing, right? then all of these other stories start to circulate about his time in college football. And when he was on Clemson, I guess he grabbed, there was like a running back that like fell down on the ground. He was like, kersplat. And he like picked him up by the groin or like by the butthole specifically. And then there was a couple of other stories about him like grabbing Josh Allen's ding-a-ling. Like, he's handsy is what we have been learning. Lucy, did I miss anything? Were there any other butt grabs?
That's pretty accurate. I think those were the number of ass grabs that we are aware of.
Okay, so what do we think about this? Because I do feel like, in sports, there's a little bit of butt grabbing, not necessarily butthole grabbing. That's a different region. But what are our thoughts on this?
Well, my first thought, like when I just heard about the like forehead kiss, I was like, well, thank God somebody's trying to do something about the male loneliness epidemic. Finally, like, oh, okay. All I hear is men are so lonely, but then you get one kiss on the forehead from your guy, and then what? It's go to HR.
Listen, the league is very big on patting butts. It's not like they don't all coaches smack your butt and say good job. So it doesn't feel like the butt is off limits, so to speak. But I also think it's very convenient that these stories start circulating when they owe him money. And it seems very convenient to me that all of a sudden all of this nefarious stuff is leaked so that the Raiders can get out of paying this guy $35 million. That seems
$35
very
million.
Convenient.
It's not nothing.
That ain't nothing. But also the Raiders are not, like the Raiders are, can be kind of cheap. I mean, the Davis family is not known for being just like gratuitous with their money, basically. And so
yeah. What's that place? I would have been way quicker with this joke, but I could not remember the place. What is the place where you can go and get a very cheap haircut? Smart cuts?
Supercut.
Super cuts.
Great
Super
clips.
cuts.
Both of them.
Great clips. Yeah, there's something
Smart
in
and
there.
Final.
Mark saving his money and going to Smart.
Oh yes.
Smart and Final. Like there is something there that's like, they always spank each other's bums, and I like a little forehead kiss. Like that's bonding. But it could go into like this sinister route where it like maybe so. I think that the rumors started to resurface because there was like footage that people went back and found of like him like being really
of
grabby.
him doing
so
the
maybe
splits.
This is just like a yucko.
I keep seeing like a video of him doing the splits on like the Clemson sidelines or something, and then everyone's like, "We always knew," and it's like, well, listen, there's a lot of homophobia also in the NFL, and a lot of that is because they are secretly have feelings, and so it makes them very uncomfortable if someone were to kiss them or grab their butt because they are worried they might like it too much.
Sarah's just writing gay NFL fanfic on the side. Like this is like the
wow.
I've
thought a lot about it.
One read. Okay, let's switch gears to college football. Sarah, you want to take it from here? Because Lucy, I'm like a newbie with college football. I never really ever got into it. And then ASU, Zach, my husband's team, really popped off last season, which I had so much fun with. So now I'm like way more invested this upcoming season. And I obviously didn't go to school in the States, so I'm like a free-for-all. So I'm looking to adopt a team. Might be the Bulldogs. I might be tweeting Georgia every single day. But I'm excited to hear your thoughts on like the teams to watch this season.
I think we are in like the golden era. Like things are about to get really, really fun because for the last few years, Georgia has kicked everybody's ass. And it hasn't even been close. And then before that, Alabama was kicking everybody's ass. And, like, you occasionally had a Clemson year in there, and every once in a while Auburn would show up, and you'd be like, what is this about? But it's been pretty localized to one region of the country and a couple teams, where now we're starting to see, with the expansion of the playoff and NIL, which overall I do think is a good thing. I think there are a lot of things wrong with it, but overall it is a good thing, where there are more competitors than ever, where you look at this season and you have Michigan, who could be very good again. You have Penn State, who like whatever. You have Texas that people are buying into. Georgia is always someone you should look out for. Alabama is still always someone you should look out for. And so, and especially when you get those moments where you have an Arizona State, you have a school that is not typically in that conversation with the ability to compete. It is just really opening up the floodgates for this to be a more well-balanced sport, even though a lot of people are telling you that that's not the direction it's going in. I think that is false.
Now, and then there are so many teams that have consistently been in the top 25, right? But who is a team this year that you think could break into that top 25 like ASU did last year, where it's like, oh, it's so cool to see this new school in here?
So the popular pick for this right now has been Illinois. Illinois is sort of the team that everyone is circling on their schedule right now because they are a very good football team. They're bringing back Luke Altmaier, who's a great quarterback. They are bringing back, I think, like some of the most production in the country. I believe it's top 5, but I'm not positive on that. And they have a schedule that is like ridiculous. Like it's so insanely easy that it actually makes me like a little bit upset. And they have a head coach who's like an asshole in the best way. Like he's very see you next Tuesday in his behavior. I love him. He started a fight in the middle of a game last year. Like it was awesome. And it was taunting another coach.
Ref?
So Brett Bielema, we call him Bert. He was coaching Illinois against South Carolina in like the Cheez-Its Bowl, I believe. And so he kept taunting Shane Beamer with like, it was something with like timeout. I can't remember it that well right now, but it was something with like timeouts and like too many players on the field, whatever. And so he kept doing things that was going to piss Shane Beamer off. And to the point where like Shane Beamer ran across the field, the refs had to like stop him. And Brett Bielema is laughing hysterically. He is taunting him beyond belief. He is what we need in college football, which are coaches that are willing to be like sassy. Him and Lane Kiffin are carrying the way. Yeah. Brett, he is a star. And so he has had like such an interesting sort of like coaching cycle where he's at Illinois now. Before he was at Arkansas, where he did like a reality TV show with his wife, and he was terrible at Arkansas. It was like really, really a bad experience.
Wait, how do I not know anything about this? Do I root for Illinois this year?
No, don't do that. Okay. Don't do that. But so he was at Wisconsin before that, which is really interesting because Illinois and Wisconsin, they were in the same division. So there's like a little rivalry there. And when he was at Wisconsin, he was very, very good. He played football at Iowa. So he's an Iowa grad. But now that he's the head coach at Illinois, it is unfortunate for him that he did not think out his collegiate decisions because Illinois and Iowa aren't rivals, but they're pretty close to it. He has a big-ass tattoo of the Iowa logo on his leg. No. And he has to wear pants every time he coaches against Iowa because he has the logo of that school.
That is
he said he since regret the tattoo. So, like, that's, like, why I love college football, because the coaches are, like, so messy, and they're so silly. Like, Bobby Petrino over there is back at Arkansas after tanking that program because he took his affair partner on a motorcycle ride and then crashed. Like, that is what this stupid sport is about, and I love it so much. It's, like, it's my reality TV.
Are the top 25 rankings out? Because it says that Illinois is in there.
No, so the top 25 aren't out officially. Illinois is sort of the team that everyone's got their eye on. I would keep my eye on Washington. They are in year 2 of Jed Fish, who came over from Arizona. Yeah. Washington went from playing in the national championship game to being just kind of a really sad story in the sense that they lost their head coach and then they lost every single player. Like they were starting entirely from scratch. And now they've got a really good quarterback coming in. They've got like a solid schedule. There are opportunities for a big win against Michigan. Washington is a team that I think is going to surprise people. And then Utah, who's always in the top 25, but after a really rough year last year, I don't know if you're going to see them in the top 25 this season. They don't ever have back-to-back bad years. Like that just like doesn't happen. Kyle Whittingham is like he is a staple, and so Utah's a team I look out for too.
Is that quarterback still there, or did he get suspended?
No, Cam Rising, he officially medically retired from football, and he had been playing for like 12 years. Not exactly, but I think it might have been 9. Wow. Like he was
That's
in
the
school.
one with the sexual assault.
So that's Jake Retzlaff from BYU. He has since found a community that more fits his vibe and is at Tulane in New Orleans. So just like complete jump from
wild
Provo,
story.
I see.
Utah to New Orleans.
Yeah.
And so he'll be at Tulane, which they needed a quarterback because their quarterback went to Duke. That's like the difficult part of being like a college football fan in the off season now is it's just like it's like the Charlie Day, like It's Always Sunny meme because you just everyone
but
is going everywhere.
You've got a little
Yeah.
Rolodex brain. Like, whenever we're talking in the off season, we're like, that guy went where? Can somebody Google it, please? Like, you're like, and this is, What is your favorite stadium to visit? Like, what is the best sort of experience?
That is such a good question. And I have like 12 answers because I break it down into categories because each one, there's so much like the best college town, Athens, Georgia. I'll say it. I love Athens. It is
Agreed.
a party. It is so much fun. Athens, Madison, and Iowa City are the three best. The best game day atmosphere, if you're including tailgating, plus the game itself, plus just the vibe, LSU. Those people are nuts. They are psychopaths, and I really love them. The best tailgating, Ole Miss. Ole Miss by far. And then my favorite stadium, I really like Washington's because it's like not...
It's so beautiful.
It's gorgeous, and it's not that like high tech of a stadium. It's not that like advanced. It's not a big house, but it is so loud because they have these overhangs, just like the Seahawks, that trap all the sound. And then you're also like on the water. And a lot of Washington fans before the game, they'll tailgate on a boat, and they call it sailgating, and it's just like the most beautiful thing
so cute?
ever. And like
Yeah.
each school has their little traditions like that, and I just love it so much.
Can we talk
Bob
about
Schwartz
Texas?
is going to be absolutely thrilled with this episode.
I love
go
Washington
ahead, Tara.
because Michael Penix came from there, and I'm a huge Michael Penix fan as a Falcons fan. And my friend Ryan Leaf went there. Anyway, Texas Tech. I really want to talk about Texas Tech and their NIL situation and like what your expectations are for them this year.
So
And can you tell us what that situation is? Because I do not know.
So Texas Tech has a billionaire who is backing everything. So they are rolling in more cash than pretty much anyone else because they're in Texas. You got that oil money. And basically, Texas Tech has gone all in on every single thing they're doing this season. They hired a new defensive coordinator. They have paid so much money to bring in as much talent as possible. They have one of the best transfer portal classes in the country. And they've actually been doing this across sports, which I think people are kind of like not focusing on.
Nigeri. Yeah,
Yes,
the
they
softball
spent
player,
so much.
Nigeri
Do you know how much money you got to spend to get someone to give up a Stanford education for a Texas Tech one? Like you really have to
Yes.
put that money where your mouth is there. And so basically, Texas Tech has gone balls to the wall and spent more money than anybody else possible, which has put them in this spot where it's like, hey, you have spent all this money, you got to win. Now, Texas Tech historically as a team is the most high-flying, fun offense in the country. I believe they were averaging like 500-plus offensive yards a game. They were giving up about the same. Like their defense was absolutely terrible, and their defense has been dog shit for as long as I can possibly remember. So they've put a shit ton of money into actually giving their defense a chance. Now they play in the Big 12. The Big 12 historically kind of plays that style of football. They are less defensive minded. They are more like, let's score a lot of points, gunslingers, all that stuff. What's so interesting is being in the Big 12, this is probably the best year for the Big 12 in a long time. I believe for win totals, I don't know if there's a Big 12 school that has a higher win total than like 8.5, and there's not one that has a lower one than 5. They are in this just like they cannibalize each other every single year, which is why it always kind of like sucks for the Big 12. They'll get left out of the playoff because they never really have one team that's just so much better than everybody else. Texas Tech has the potential to be that, but there are so many competitors in that conference this year. Arizona State is going to be very, very good again. Iowa State lost 2 really good receivers, but they should be really good again. Kansas State is like kind of a sneaky pick. We don't even know what's going on with Baylor. There's some crazy stuff happening there. Their coach is out talking about midgets in press conferences, which makes me buy in. Yeah, he gave a quote last week that was like talking about recruiting, and he was like, "There's a scene in The Wolf of Wall Street where they're telling midgets they're one of us, and that's how you have to run a football team." And you're like, "What are you talking about?" Also, I don't think you're allowed to use that word.
No.
I don't remember that scene either.
I didn't know
you?
either. I was like,
remember that scene.
Yeah,
Well, also,
it
I
was
think
crazy.
Yeah, I think with Texas Tech too, it's like not only do you have the money, but you have Mahomes recruiting everybody.
Yeah.
Which
Ooh,
also
yeah.
really helps. So it's like this this like double set headed beast. I don't know how I'm trying to say it, but like you're attacking from both sides. So it's like you're paying a guy $5 million, and now with the NIL deals, Rachel, you don't even have to go to class. Like some of these NIL deals
What
are
do you
like we're
say
just
more about
paying
that?
you to go to put on the uniform because
So
now
they
it's
don't
not
have-
tied to a scholarship.
Oh, but wait, what if they're like failing out?
It's Texas Tech. I
can
don't think you
still-
can fail out.
No, you're not going to fail out. Not in a school like that. Not in a big college
It's-
football school. Like they're just like they
That's
can
crazy.
probably pay the teachers to just pass you if they need to, but it's not tied to a passing grade. Like I don't know anymore if like even putting on the uniform is tied to like being, because like Stetson Bennett almost didn't even graduate. He like wasn't even going to class.
So
Now, he
a
was
lot
in
of
his
these-
seventh year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, if I could go
A
to
lot of
college
these-
for 7 years, I would too. So a lot of these like athletes, this is a very different example, but when Caitlin Clark was at Iowa, by the end of her career, she could only take online classes for, obviously huge popularity reasons.
Yeah.
But if you watch, The Athletic did this great little social clip after the men's basketball national championship last year, where they asked Florida players, like, what is your next class after winning the national championship? And almost all of them were like, I'm done with classes or I'm on online. And so they tailor these course loads for these athletes, and like it does depend school to school. Some schools are like very serious about like you need to hit our academic standards. Like if you're Stanford, like you got to be a Stanford student. But when they were originally signing these NIL deals, were like you can't do pay for play. You can't do it. There are a ton of workarounds around it where a lot of times like these NIL deals coming from collectives are like, hey, we're paying you for a service, and that service is we want you to come to this autograph signing, and they will get their money through that. So there's like a ton of workaround. This is all going to change now rapidly with the House versus NCAA settlement. These athletes now have to run their NIL deals through like a clearinghouse through Deloitte, and Deloitte will say, Deloitte will say, hey, we think this is pay for play. No, you can't accept this deal. We don't think it's a real NIL deal. Or, you know what? We looked at your market value and we don't actually think that you should be getting paid that much for this type of deal. Obviously, that's going to result in a lot of lawsuits, and that's going to cause a ton of problems. This system went live a month ago. And so they approved this like the second week of June, and then it went live 3 days ago. Or 3 weeks later, excuse me. And so it has been this like weird thing where they're trying to regulate it, but there is just like so much gray area that it's not going to happen. And I don't think in any world you can say, hey, we don't think this is market value, because market value is whatever someone wants to pay you. That's what market value is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's
like,
messy.
what is going to happen with that Oho deal? Because like this kid Felix Oho, or at Texas Tech got 5.1 million from the NIL collective, basically, and that's obviously the highest amount. But because I was under the impression now that the checks are coming straight from the university, as opposed
So they
to
can't. Yes.
they can, yes, they can
So-
come straight from the university, as opposed to the Honda of Tucson, right?
Right, a
Yeah.
backer coming
So
in.
you will still get those Tucson Honda deals. Those are still very much on the
course.
table, because when NIL was pitched, that was what was in mind. There were student athletes who campaigned for that. They kind of led the way. They were like, I just want to be able to take a brand deal. That's what the majority of that ask was. Obviously, it transformed into something completely different. These collectives, these companies are going to have to find workarounds. So most likely what they're going to find a way to do is going to say, well, we pay a lot for an Instagram post. We pay a lot for these special appearances, for you to be in our commercials, when it's all secretly done by some backer. And I just don't think that this clearinghouse is going to be able to get past that. With the money coming directly from the schools, that's a $20.5 million cap that every school has. Can every school afford that? No. And who is going to be the most screwed by that is probably us as fans. And you've already sort of seen that where Tennessee has been like, hey, we think this is going to happen. We're raising our ticket prices 10%, and that's a Tennessee talent fee. And schools are now not only asking you to donate to your NIL collective, but they want you to donate to that specific fund that's going to go to paying these athletes. What is really going to be awful about this is that there aren't really any Title IX legislations with it, and obviously we know that it's just not going to be paid out equally. And these schools are going to make roster cuts. Things are going to get a lot more difficult if you are not a football player, if you are not a basketball player. These Olympic sports are going to struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like there's going to have to be schools that literally just start focusing on Olympics. Like if football is super huge at, Georgia, Tennessee, like these SEC schools, the swim team, the gymnastics team, like you're going to get schools that start focusing specifically on Olympic sports so that they can use that because the $20.5 million cap is across all sports. It's not just for football. Right.
Yeah. So you'll see
that money, where does that come from? That comes from like the 10% upcharge fee.
Yeah.
And
so the $20.5 million, that was done through the math of this is what we think you should be getting from TV revenue, ticket sales, merchandise. So like that was like a number they sort of put together based off that, which is obviously like, that seems crazy to me in the sense that the Big Ten is making like an insane amount of money from TV deals, more than anybody else, and the ACC is like not getting shit. Like they have absolutely no money from their TV deals. So it's not equal across the board. And so that money will change every year. There is a renegotiating period. There's like a 4% increase, whatever. It's going to adjust every year. Well, it'll get bigger. But most of that money is going to come from the fans. If you think that money is, they're saying, we've been saving up. We've been saving up our Big Ten media deal. No, they're charging you more. Like this is inevitably what's going to happen. And that's kind of my big fear is it's already started to happen where these fans are getting priced out of college football. And if you think about college football, the areas that college football is the biggest are in the South. They are in the Midwest. These are not wealthy areas. These are fans that it's going to be tougher for them to afford to go to a Tennessee game, to go to a Georgia game. And so I do think that the idea that students can be paid directly from their university is a good thing, but I think that is going to come at a major cost that people are not considering.
Ooh, this
Meanwhile,
is so fascinating. I feel like it's going to snowball and just get like really, really ugly the next few years.
And like they're trying to go to the government. Donald Trump signed something, which like he didn't really actually do anything. No shit. But like they are basically lobbying with congressmen to try to get them to regulate this, which is like we are in a spot where like I think about Caitlin Clark at Iowa, who by the way never took any money from Iowa's NIL collective, which I think is insane. Wow. She has made that university so much money. She made that university more than anyone has ever made that university before, and she never was paid by the university. And they still use her image and stuff. They are still putting her in their little commercial, which they should do. It's very cool, but she was never paid directly. And you think about some of the athletes that come through these schools, they are creating a profit. They are helping these schools make money, and they deserve to be paid as such.
Sarah, what
I mean, think about. Well, I think about like how much money the NCAA has made over the last 80 years, right? They never had to pay anybody until 5 years ago, and it's like, I mean, that's why there's also the back pay settlement that's coming out. You know what I mean? And like we'll really see, but like, I can see, I can see these conferences leaving. I can see them forming their own leagues. You know what I mean? And like that, to me, that's like the scary part where it's like, I want to be able to play against certain teams, but right now teams are paying to play us. Like, Appalachian State is paying to play Georgia, where it's like but the fans want to see us play Oregon, and these kids still have to go to class and we're flying cross country. And so it's like, we're going to have to figure out how to make this a more conducive viewership experience, because obviously not every game is important. And like, and like the rankings are all out of whack. It's just like it's such a huge mess because obviously there are so many schools at play here. And then, you want smaller schools to be in there. You want, it's exciting when Vanderbilt beats Alabama, but, that's very rare. Most of the time it's 57-3, and it's not a fun game to watch, and you're turning it off, and it's on ESPN Plus for a reason. And so, the TV rights deals, the NIL deals, and then are a big factor here. And then you have people like Arch Manning who are, literally, I mean, Texas, not like Texas wasn't already on the map. Obviously, like Quinn Ewers, took that team to great heights, And personally, I want Arch Manning to stay in college football for the next 3 years. I think that would be so great for college football. But the reality is if he has a good year and the New Orleans Saints have the number 1 pick in the draft, he's fucking leaving. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be drafted. And so, to me, it's just like this sad state where it's like I look forward to college football. I love my Georgia Bulldogs. Like, everything in my house is devoted to them. There's a picture right here of me crying at their game against Oklahoma at the Rose Bowl. But it's in such a sad state and it's in such a mess. And, somebody has to, there has to be a commissioner. There has to be, more regulation. And there has to be, equal pay, honestly, across the sport. There has to be some sort of revenue share, which I know that's what the $20.5 million is technically supposed to be. But we all have such a sour taste in our mouth from the way that the NCAA has bent these colleges over and screwed them for years that they're all like, fuck you. We don't have any allegiance to you anymore.
How is there no commissioner?
Sorry, Lucy.
How is there no one person that's in charge?
Great question.
That's actually insane.
Great question.
Great question.
Because
the
it's not a
NCAA has no
professional
power.
league. It's not a professional league.
But it now it's so much money getting sort of, washed through all of these teams. Do you anticipate there being a commissioner kind of coming in and overseeing?
I'll tell you who it should be. I tell you, if there's going to be a commissioner, I hope it's Jay Bilas. I think that he is one of the smartest people. Obviously, he went to Duke. He's a lawyer. He's, was a player, a coach. This is a guy that understands college in a variety of ways. And he's always speaking so eloquently on it. So I definitely think there needs to be one. But I'll let Lucy talk because she's the pro here.
My guess is it'll be Nick Saban. I'm not joking at all. I really think it'll be Nick Saban.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
And he's been meeting with politicians, and I don't actually necessarily agree with a lot of Nick Saban's takes. He's not as pro pay player as I would like for him to be. Because come on, dog.
Well,
hey,
yeah.
Hey man, we know why you're here. Yeah. Pay them. And so the way I sort of foresee this playing out is we are just going to get to a point where there are 2 conferences, and that is the Fox conference and the ESPN conference. And you've already sort of seen the tragedies of this with Oregon State, Washington State. Oregon State had their darling, best quarterback in Oregon State history, Jonathan Smith, as the head coach, and he left for a job that wasn't that exciting, a Michigan State job that you're I don't know if that's a good enough job. Washington State had the best quarterback in college football last year, top five quarterback in college football last year, John Mateer. He's now gone to Oklahoma. The year before, do you know who their quarterback was? Cam Ward, and he went to Miami. And their head coach just left Washington State for Wake Forest. That's a move that's like this. You're not really taking a jump there because Washington State is so screwed because nobody wanted them in their conference. Oregon State is so screwed because nobody wanted them in their conference that those are now programs that are going to be fighting on the daily. That will simply they are just going to get left behind. My pitch that I like is a Chip Kelly one of that football should just be separate. Football should just be its own separate entity, and you can build conferences around that. And you can do it location-wise. You can do it based off, whatever. If you think that they're in the same level, who cares? But it should be separate because, it is something that was so funny. And it wasn't funny because it was sad, but it was funny is last year I watched Stanford Cal men's basketball play a conference tournament game in Charlotte, North Carolina. And you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that's not normal.
Right.
And so I think that what we'll end up seeing happening is I do eventually think there's going to be some sort of legislation. There's going to be some sort of like governing body, because the NCAA is not a governing body. They could tell you they are not. They don't do shit but get people in trouble for dumb crap. And that's all they do. And they only do that because they have nothing left to do anymore. They're like, okay, well, I guess we're going to deny this guy's transfer because he wanted to be close to his grandma, like whatever. So it's just, it is really messy. But to positively spin things for a second, I think we're going to have a great season. I think it's going to be a good year.
Tell me who, like, how good Georgia's going to be and, like, what they need to work on and where you think they need.
They're losing, 4 starters on their offensive line? You don't love to see that. Georgia is actually really interesting because, like, last year, Georgia's worst year is everyone else's best year, but Georgia had been the dominating force in college football, and I believe that 2 years ago, if they had made the playoff ahead of Alabama, they would have won the national championship. Like, I believe they were the best team in the country that year. You lost that conference championship game. So Georgia went through this stretch where they are the best team in college football, and I just, like, something was just off last year. It felt like there wasn't something you could look at and be like, that's Georgia's strength. You had Carson Beck, who was, like, off, and I understand that those receivers were not catching passes. They were dropping passes all the time, but Carson Beck still really wasn't that guy. You had a really strong defense. You're always going to have a strong defense, but there was no thing that I could look that Georgia was doing that I was like, they are doing that better than everybody else. And that is sort of what Georgia football had been the last couple years. And so, obviously, Carson Beck is gone. He's out getting his car stolen in Miami. Oops. Whatever. We'll see how that goes. And you have Gunnar Stockton coming in, who's, like, high praise. There's a lot of, like, buzz around him. You've brought in receivers. Georgia usually uses the portal really smartly. They never go too intense, but they always address what they need, which is how you do the portal. And obviously, I have complete and total faith that their defense is going to be fine. It's full of 5 stars. It's just, do you have what you need on the offensive line? Can you get the depth at running back? Is Gunnar going to be what you want him to be? Georgia is going to be good no matter what. Or are they going to be playoff good? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it hurt when we lost our offensive coordinator to the Ravens. I think that was, like, the biggest hit that we had. And then Carson Beck was, started being talked about as, the Heisman candidate and, like, the savior. And, like, he's got a Lamborghini deal. And I think that got in his head. And I think, he was playing from the top. And when you were playing from the bottom, it's a way easier play. When no one has expectations on you, it's a way easier spot. And I don't think he was managing those expectations well, and I think he crumbled. And he was apparently missing a lot of practices or late to practices because he was, like, more, cared more about his girlfriend in Miami. And so, he was dating one of the Cavender twins, Rachel. So, like, he went to Miami to be with her. They have now broken up. And we have this guy, Gunnar Stockton.
Twins?
What? They're like influencers. They're like, I don't really follow their
content.
They play
basketball. They're basketball.
They play basketball.
Players.
They're super hot. So they're influencers, and they both went to play
this checks all my boxes.
For Miami. Yeah, and he dated one of them. Can't remember. And they both have H names. So you're like, how? I can't tell them apart. But Haley and Hannah, and he dated one of them. They got their cars stolen, which, like, pretty much seems like they just left their keys in their car, and that's what happens, which you should not do. And then they broke up. And the sisters have definitely been saying things about him online, like, subtly.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
And, like, one of the sisters is like, I never liked him. And we're like, okay.
Okay, we didn't ask.
Yeah. But Gunnar drives, like, an old F-150 truck, and he's from Georgia. And so I think he's, like, a better fit. And he's, like, kind of reminds me of Cam Scattaboo, where he's just, like, where you're like, please do not do that. You are going to die.
Tackling cement pillars.
Stop running like that.
Kirby Smart had one of my favorite sound bites at Media Days this year, which was he was like, Gunnar Stockton, Georgia through and through. He's got a sister named Georgia. And you're like, yes! Yes!
Okay. All right, Kirby.
Let's
College football
go!
makes me feel so American. It's not at all.
Oh, it's the most
really,
American
really
thing
quick
ever.
before we put a button in this episode. UNC Belichick. I feel like the headlines have really calmed down the last few months, but as we start gearing up and getting closer to the season, we're going to see him more on the sideline. We're going to be seeing Jordan on the sideline, perhaps Jordan, whatever the fuck. What are your thoughts on that team? How are they going to be outside of that drama? And then are we going to hear a lot more about that as the season rolls on?
They have a top 10 transfer class, so like it's been working. I think that UNC went into this decision with sort of the mindset of we are going to try to replicate what Colorado has done, not with the intention of winning, but with the intention of getting a lot of people to pay money to see UNC football. Especially, here's a little interesting tidbit. The ACC reworked their media rights deals so that it's not divided equally like other conferences. It's based off viewership. So whoever gets the most viewers is going to get more money from that media rights deal, which is why I think UNC made this higher, because people are going to watch to see what Bill Belichick does. UNC is still kind of messy to me. They have so many transfers that you don't know what that identity is going to look like. So I'm always very hesitant about a team that like went really crazy at the portal, because you're like, you don't know. Like that's what Florida State did, and that's how Florida State completely and totally fell apart. They're in the ACC. You have an easy schedule. Things are going to be pretty simple. They do open up with TCU, which is going to be an interesting game in a sense. TCU hasn't been and they're the Monday night game, so everyone is watching. TCU hasn't really been great the last few years. That national championship run kind of felt like a little bit of a fluke, but I don't have a ton of faith, and I think that right now the ACC is ass, and Clemson is insanely good. And I think Clemson is going to run through that conference, and I think Clemson is my sneaky national championship pick right now.
Wow.
They are a good football team.
Really?
Dude, Klubnik is that guy. He is a
Klubnik
dog.
is very good.
And
he's very good.
This is the first Clemson team that's felt like Clemson. They went out, they got Tom Allen to be their defensive coordinator. They poached him from Penn State, which that's caused an echo. That's caused a ripple effect. That's very fascinating with Penn State hiring Jim Knowles, but whatever. They're going to have an insanely good defense, which has kind of been not what it has been the last few years. They have good receivers. They are just like stacked. It reminds me of these Clemson teams of past. And as much as Dabo sort of lost his fastball a little bit, I think he's going to get that back. And I think what has been so encouraging about it is Dabo has been portaling. Not like crazy, but he's used it. And he was a strict non-transfer portal guy. Rachel Dabo the only time he used the transfer portal for like years was he got a player who transferred from Clemson to come back to Clemson. He was so against using the portal, which has become something that you have to use in this day and age. And he started to do that. And I just think their schedule is very easy. They open up with LSU. That is tough. They close with South Carolina. That is tough. Everything in the middle is incredibly manageable. And Klubnik is that guy. Is that guy.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited.
It's just like Dabo always was like so against all the modernization of anything. You know, didn't want to pay anybody, didn't believe in the transfer. It's just like, so I don't ever root for him, obviously, for obvious reasons, but.
He is annoying, but Rachel, if you want like a coach that's like, he's going to give you some sound bites. One time someone asked him if they use NIL and he said, we use God's NIL, and said something fucking crazy with that. Like he is always dropping the most insane sound bites ever.
Okay, well, I'm ready. I'm geared up for college football. This episode did exactly what it needed to do. Also, we had some of the smartest conversations I think we've ever had on this podcast, and it was just Lucy speaking to us and us
Being
listening.
Lucy. Mm-hmm.
I literally have had
Lucy,
so much fun.
Where can people find you? Where can they hear more from you? What are your go-tos? What are your plugs?
So you can follow me on all social media at Lucy_Rhodin. It's spelled Rohden. It doesn't make any sense. I'm also on YouTube, and you can catch me on the road for the Levitard show this year at a different college football game every week.
Wow, what a gig, dude! What a
Which
gig.
one are you
Which
one are you excited about the most, or is there like a specific? I mean, obviously you're excited about all of them.
I'm excited about all of them. I've never been to Auburn before, and we're trying to go to the Georgia-Auburn game this year. And I've always wanted to go to Auburn. I'm excited. And we should be in Athens for Texas, Georgia, which I'm excited about. Because I went to Athens last year, Sarah. That was the most fun I've ever had at a college town.
Yeah.
I was like, this is
pretty
great.
I want to go.
Pretty great. Let's go. Let's go together. We can all go.
Yeah, you guys are welcome at any spot.
Let's go. We'll be your assistants for the day. We'll carry your beautifully painted bag. Lucy, thank you so much. We are such big fans. We're so happy to have you on the pod. Will you come back again this season when Meg's here, and we'll talk a little bit more college football? Maybe do like a halfway check-in to the season.
I've like literally had so much fun. I would do this again tomorrow. Like, I'm having a great time.
Well, you're gonna have to fight a very post-pregnant woman. So,
all right.
And you know what? I'd watch that. I would watch that. Okay, we're big fans. We love you, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Oh no, it's sports fiction.